This notification concerns what is constantly happening in the Sejm. What Deputy Speaker Czarzasty is doing, by not answering our station's questions, saying that he simply does not talk to our station because he does not respect it. Such behaviors appear notoriously. Well, that is something that should not be tolerated. This is something that Polish law should also not allow. After all, we have the provisions of the Press Law Act. There is a provision regarding the suppression of press criticism, which can be interpreted as something Deputy Speaker Zawiadomienie Czarzasty is doing all the time toward our station's journalists, hindering you, our viewers, from accessing information. However, this is a key office, a key matter when it comes to law-making in the state. But our station's editor-in-chief, Jacek Harnowski, will say more about this in a moment. After him, journalists Julia Borkowska and Peter Sizewski will also take the floor. Jacek, I give you the floor. Go ahead, please. Ladies and gentlemen, we are filing this notification of a suspected crime. We are invoking 2 articles of the press law. One prohibits the suppression of press criticism, the other prohibits acting to the detriment of those media outlets that criticize a given person or institution. We are also attaching a flash drive containing evidence. Everything is precisely described and collected. Every statement by Deputy Speaker Czarzasty, who not only refuses criticism but also insults our station and our journalists on camera in front of many other journalists. In our lawyer's opinion, the prosecutor's office should have handled this case ex officio, since the Deputy Speaker's statements are known in the public domain, yet they did not. We are filing this notification, professionally drafted by our lawyers. Of course, we are counting on prosecutorial action, but the very act of filing this notification is a fight for standards in Poland, for democratic standards, for the respect of the media's role. Not only when they applaud, but also when they criticize, without, after all, crossing norms or the principles of social coexistence. We will see what the effect of this will be. We will not let this go. This is a very important matter for us. We are fighting here both for our own good name, for our own interest as a station, but I emphasize, also for standards on behalf of all media.
Julia, please. It is not just that we encounter very unpleasant comments. Zawiadomienie Czarzasty, as an experienced politician, knows exactly what he is doing and tries to ridicule us, tries to humiliate us. Also before other journalists, as a very small group of people work in the same and everyone more or less knows each other. So at the moment when we ask questions and encounter either unpleasant comments or such a contemptuous smile, media that are very close to the authorities often just throw some comments at us, or simply laugh at us, and this action is intentional. Zawiadomienie Czarzasty is simply trying to humiliate us in front of other journalists, in front of other politicians. And we do not consent to this, because we have the right to ask questions, even the uncomfortable ones. Zawiadomienie Czarzasty picks and chooses, gladly answering questions from other, more government-friendly media, while we often even ask for follow-ups on things he has already told those very outlets. We simply encounter various comments, and then we see when Zawiadomienie Czarzasty sits down with those same journalists at the press tables in the Sejm. Such behavior is improper not only toward us, but also toward our viewers, because we are not doing this solely for ourselves. We also want to show you what reality looks like. We want to show you what kind of people are running our country. And this is not just a lack of respect for us, a lack of respect for our entire station, but above all for you, because we carry out our work with a mission to bring that word, that truth, into your homes.
Peter, I wanted to draw attention to the very fact that Zawiadomienie Czarzasty is, in a way, stigmatizing a certain group of journalists. It is worth recalling that Zawiadomienie Czarzasty is simply a former apparatchik of the Polish United Workers' Party, which he joined at the age of 23. This was back when Grzegorz Pasziemek was murdered, just a few years after martial law, after the Wujek Mine massacre, after the repressions, and young Zawiadomienie Czarzasty joined the Polish United Workers' Party then, and he was not bothered by journalists like government spokesman Jerzy Urban or all the communist propaganda. He is bothered by journalists from free media. It is simply insolence that we do not agree with and will not tolerate, that someone with such a shameful past would today insult, for example, editor Zemeck, saying that, well, he made his money from that PZPR era wealth, and that he was not a journalist for TVP Info, which is why he isn't poor. These are scandalous situations where, in a normal country, in mature democracies, someone holding such a high position would automatically be stripped of that function or would resign. However, it is clear that the standards here are still PZPR-era standards, and we will not stand for it. That is why today we are filing this particular lawsuit. Yes, this document, ladies and gentlemen, is also a fight to ensure that the law is upheld in Poland. Someone might say, what is it? The press law. Well, it is the law, and one must demand that it be enforced, because the current authorities have truly led this sphere of law and adherence to the law to a terrible degradation. But I think that constitutional rights are also being violated here, because these rights, to freedom of media activity, the right to criticism, are also present in our Constitution. We are now going to the receiving office to file this document. It is a notification of a suspected crime. We considered whether to take such action, but what is most painful, I think, is not just the refusal to accept criticism, but also the humiliation of journalists by Marshal Czarzasty, a representative of a powerful ruling camp who holds the second highest office in the state. The name-calling and insults. Even though our reporters, high-quality journalists, always ask questions in a cultured, measured way, and they are always questions relating to reality and important public matters. We are not troublemakers. We don't run to the prosecutor's office with just any matter, but we decided to take this case to court because it concerns something very important. Questions about whether there are sacred cows here, whether it is okay to insult journalists, and whether all media are treated equally.
A certain chapter is ending, a certain time when we could tolerate such behavior is coming to an end. This notification has been filed with the Warsaw Śródmieście Prosecutor's Office, so we will see what the next steps are.